Hello, everybody. I'm George from Ireland. Thanks for coming back to my channel. This is talking about Chinese espionage in the United Kingdom. Now, first off, most countries spy on each other, right? Republic of Ireland, we don't have much of an intelligence agency, and that's largely defensive. But, apart from countries with very small populations, there's external espionage. And of course, MI6 must be spying in the People's Republic of China. I don't know anything about that. I've never been part of any intelligence community, and nothing seems to come out about it in the media. I know the US has, and at some point, dozens of Chinese people working as agents in the United States were arrested and executed as a result of a mole inside US intelligence. But going back to what's happening here in the United Kingdom. So why would Far Cathay put much effort into it? Because let's face it, the United Kingdom is not a superpower, hasn't been one for a long time, and she'll never ever recover that status. Is a mid-level power, okay, but still fairly important. London is a major financial centre. It's not as important as New York, of course. UK is a nuclear weapons state, and so forth. So the United Kingdom does a fair amount of trade with China, much more so than it does with India, for example. And what else? It's a sort of a NATO country. It's an ally of the United States. Chinese maybe find it more difficult to spy in the United States because of America's more robust approach to catching them and taking stronger action against them. And they obviously sense weakness. They correctly perceive the United States. So the United Kingdom is lily-livered and is very limp-wristed about retaliating. And obviously, economically, the boot is on the Chinese foot now. In all sorts of ways, the United Kingdom is afraid of scaring away investment. There are those who say, like Lord Chris Patten, former governor of Hong Kong, that if the UK takes firm action against the Chinese, they're not going to cut off or reduce trade because there's money in it for them as well. So other thing is, obviously, there's a large Chinese expatriate community. The United Kingdom is almost 1% ethnically Chinese. Now, some of them come directly from the People's Republic of China, some of the Chinese Malaysians, Chinese Americans, and so forth. And so even if they're not Chinese citizens, some of them have some fellow feeling for the old country, even though families left there a few generations ago. And so the People's Republic of China's strategy is often to recruit agents who are ethnically Chinese, even if they've never been Chinese citizens. And I'm not accusing the British Chinese community of divided loyalties. I think most of them are loyal to the United Kingdom. Plus, there are tens of thousands of Chinese people come to the UK every year as students, as tourists. And there's the Chinese Communist Party, which that's if you want to be in the elite, you've got to be a member of it. Up to 10% of the adult population, and they swear fealty to the party to do anything for the advancement of its interests, and that obviously includes espionage. So the United Kingdom has been very stupid, purblind, allowing Huawei to have access to the communication structure, buying a lot of equipment which could possibly be turned off by China, and blah, 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 has really got itself over a barrel. And then there's obviously the dissident community. The United Kingdom has granted asylum to Chinese human rights activists who would have been sent to slave labor camps for advocating for the rights of their fellow Chinese citizens. There are people in the UK who are sympathetic to the cause of Tibetan freedom, and China obviously can't tolerate that one. Falun Gong operates here, the spiritual movement. And obviously when China reneged on its treaty with the United Kingdom, began to oppress the Hong Kongers, the United Kingdom says those Hong Kongers with the status of British national overseas are welcome to settle in the United Kingdom, can get citizenship after 5 years, and a couple of 100,000 flock to the United Kingdom. So here they are. So many of them will be sincere refugees, but perhaps a handful are not, are exploiting that for the purpose of helping Beijing further its espionage aims. So quite easy in an open society to spy. So all sorts of reasons why they would, why they can, and so forth. Information of this military nature, that's diplomatic, political. There's some British politicians are sympathetic to Taiwanese independence. The United Kingdom trades with them, and I think has even sold military equipment to them in the past. And the PRC is not happy about that. Obviously wants to deter the United Kingdom interfering anyway. The British military is puny, not wishing to be disrespectful to the men and women in it. It's just way too small, and just not enough has been spent on equipment. There are all sorts of problems. So the United Kingdom should not and cannot fight for Taiwan, as I pointed out before. So that's what's a little bit what's going on, and that's why MI5, the United Kingdom's domestic intelligence agency, warned a year ago the House of Commons that Chinese intelligence is being very proactive in seeking to get people as agents, to hire them, sometimes to charm them, to wind them to dine them, seduce them, sometimes literally anyone who might be able to get secret information. So there could be MPs, could be their secretaries, civil servants, even journalists or whatever, political consultants. So, and the stratagem they've often deployed is contacting people through things like LinkedIn. Hello, we'll be a target for them because surely they don't see us as a threat. Let's see, the UK is quite, they might be doing it on behalf of Russia. Yeah, I mean, the United Kingdom doesn't have bases close to China, and its military is very small by comparison. So yeah, probably not, but they want to be cautious. They would like to steal some of the military technology and so forth. It can't be completely ruled out. I mean, the UK couldn't fight on its own, but as possibly as a part of an alliance. Because, you know, China backed Gaddafi, backed, you know, Assad in Syria, didn't actually send troops, but maybe one day they will. Okay, they're very friendly with the Iranians, who would like to see this as British military presence in the Gulf. But yeah, I think primarily you're correct. Where was I? So contacting people of interest like that and saying, would you like to come for an interview, and often doing it in China, less often mainland China, quite often Hong Kong, which seems less suspicious to people. And that's it. And not wanting to communicate by any system that can be read or hacked, and wanting to do it in person and blah, blah, blah. And not say, would you like to be a spy for us? But doing it obliquely, drawing them people by subtle steps. It might be people only realize when it's too late, and things like that. So they want to sow division in British society. Anyone who points out the abuses the Chinese government commits against its own people, particularly the Uyghurs, they'll say that's anti-China and racist and stuff like that, and interference in internal affairs. I mean, to be fair to the PRC, they tend not to delve into the United Kingdom's internal affairs. Okay, so that's why those two men were charged with the breach of the Official Secrets Act, Christophers, Berry and Cash. But anyway, the trials were discontinued. I know it's called a nolle prosequi in this case, because the United Kingdom wouldn't say that China was a hostile state, which it blatantly is. Sir Ian Duncan Smith, former leader of the Conservative Unionist Party, has been very forthright on this issue. And there was another incident in the middle of 2024 when three men were charged with spying on behalf of the PRC. Two of them were ethnically Chinese, Qi Liong-wai, Chung Bu-yen, and a white Briton called Matthew Trickett, former military man who was, I think, like a customs officer at Heathrow Airport. They were released on bail, and Mr. Trickett was found dead in a park in Maidenhead. Was that suicide? The police said it's not suspicious. They don't think it was murder. But there's obviously suspicion. Did someone kill him to silence him? Yeah. And so it's going on. And then the PRC, they've had that embassy there on Portland Place since the 60s. The United Kingdom recognized the PRC almost immediately in 1949, partly because it bordered Hong Kong, then a British colony, and the United Kingdom thought, we have to get along with these people. They could attack, they'd hugely outnumber us. It's doubtful the UK would win, so we have to at least open a channel of communication rather than recognizing Taiwan as the government of the whole of China. And now they want to move to the former Royal Mint near the Tower of London, and there's a lot of opposition to that. Lord Charles Banner, Conservative peer, the top planning barrister in the country, and he warned against and said any assurances given by the Chinese government will not be legally binding. They're completely unenforceable because of sovereign immunity. It'll be their sovereign territory. They can do anything. They're not telling what's going on in these rooms. They could kidnap people, keep them there. We know they've had unofficial police stations in the UK. Could be for spying, but apparently MI5 and MI6 said they were not worried about it. Go ahead, grant permission. And the UK has been so stupid not to say, we'll grant permission if you give us something we want, like the release of Jimmy Lai. I always tended to think this new embassy was a disaster. And Ian Duncan Smith was strongly against it. The previous Tory government wasn't necessarily against, but no doubt they'll be opportunistic and say, oh, we would have said no. Some people, so now are the security services, they're green lighting this? Is it to help out their political masters, particularly massive screw-ups by MI5? And is their leader trying to save his bacon? So their director, because then the Prime Minister will let him stay on post. So he has to do a favor to his political master, a bit like they did over Iraq and things like that. Anyway, thanks for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon. Donate PayPal, georgecallan79@gmail.com. By the way, that allusion to Iraq, obviously it was MI6 with providing intelligence because they're about overseas. MI5 is here in the UK. I wasn't pretending that MI5 was involved in gathering the intelligence in Iraq. Okay, goodbye then.